Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Good, Bad, and Ugly of Business. I am your host, Katrin Becker. In this podcast, we talk to amazing business owners, entrepreneurs, and people from all different walks of life to learn more about what they have learned in business so that we can help others. Today is my great pleasure to have Joseph Nantomah, and Dr. Joseph Nantomah here on the show today. Doctor, welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's amazing being here, and thank you for having me.
The honor is all ours because you have got such an amazing story. I have had the pleasure of spending many times with Joseph for dinners, for different training events that we've both taken part of. And your story is incredible. Your mindset is incredible. You are such a beacon of hope to me and to so many others. And I'm so glad to have this opportunity to speak with you and share your message with more people.
Thank you for your kind words. I really appreciate you as a person. I met your husband, amazing family, and I consider you a friend. So thank you very much for those kind words.
Oh, absolutely. Well, for those of you who haven't had the pleasure of meeting Joseph yet, please tell us more about your background and how you came to be the Black mentor and the real estate investor and #1 mindset coach and all of the amazing accolades that you now have.
It's been an amazing journey, but one that keeps humbling me. I know so many people believe in so many things, but I believe in God, and God is the ultimate when it comes to everything, right? So my story starts all the way from the slums of Africa. It's an amazing story, and sometimes, when I tell people think it's like a make-believe story. But I have lived it. I have seen it. I was born in Africa. My mom left when I was 2, so I pretty much grew up with a dad. But my dad loved me so much and wanted to make sure that, things work out for me. So he married my stepmom, typically like your Cinderella story, right? My dad travels and I stay with my stepmom. And believe it or not, I started doing business when I was 9 years old. When I say that, I feel a lot emotional because my daughter just turned 9 this year. So I picture my daughter, who is upstairs right now, being the one running and doing business for me. Just think about that. So I started hawking things on the street. I would sell, soda at home, whatever business my stepmom wanted to do. I was the marketing manager. But you see, what all this did was, I never knew at that time, of course, it wasn't pleasant at that time. I mean, nobody finds it pleasant when they're going through those challenges at the time. But what happened was, it ended up becoming something that shaped me, prepared me for this great future that I have right now. So I went to what you guys call kindergarten. I went to high school, but I never went to college. Never had the opportunity of going to college. My stepmom made sure my dad never sent me to college. And, where I come from, Africa, there's nothing like student loans or loans to go to school. So it was just for me to deal with what I have. I had to deal with, like you say, I had to deal with the card that was dealt to me. So I found myself, running around doing all kind of manual jobs. Then finally, I found project management. Project management was the breaking force for me at the time. It came in the early 2000s, and it was Project Management Institute. Every single company in Africa wanted to get projectized. But, because of my upbringing, I always sought out for opportunity. Yes, we're talking the story, but I'm going to be dropping some gems, some nuggets, some things that are going to prepare you if you're just that person who's going to start. So the first thing you want to understand is in life is going to be harsh. Sometimes life is going to be difficult, but life is going to be presenting you with different opportunities. And it's left for you to train your ears to listen, to train your eyes to see, and of course, train your mindset, because you cannot be successful. And I repeat, you cannot be successful with a broke mindset. So I always say what I had in me all through that time when I was growing up, struggling with my stepmom, with people who didn't believe in me. What I was doing at the time was I was always reading. I was always optimistic. And I just knew that, with the right mindset, I could go far. I could go very, very far. And I think that was one of the major key elements that has brought me this far.
Well, and I think what's so interesting, so my daughter is also about to turn 9. She turns 9 in a few days.
There you
And
go.
something that I've seen with both of my kids, my son is 11, is they have a sort of natural entrepreneurial mindset that they're just born with. My daughter loves stuffed animals. And so when I would say, no, I'm not buying you any more stuffed animals, you have a bazillion, she started a trading company, for lack of a better word, at school, where they organize people bringing in their stuffies and they would trade with one another. And they just had this sort of natural thing. And I can remember as a kid, having a lemonade stand and doing all these things. I think kids want to do it, but it feels like at some point, and maybe even having college as being the next step almost limits that, is because it's like, okay, you go to college and then you go to work for someone else. But that's the path that's laid out for so many people that they don't even think about anything else. So in so many ways, I feel like it's a blessing of what you experienced. And so,
oh yeah, it's a blessing. Like right now, I can tell you it's a blessing. I don't know if I'm going to allow my kids to go to college, but this is America. You can't tell people what to do. My 6-year-old feels she already controls my entire life. So, but my job as a parent, with the success that God has blessed me with the knowledge and with all the things that I know with friends like you, is just to guide them and show them, the path that actually leads to success, because the definition of success is different for so many people. For somebody else, just living a happy life, waking up with your wife and your children every day is a success. For somebody, working that $25 job is a success, right? But for some of us who, have built millions and millions of dollars worth of portfolio, we've helped so many people, become very successful. Just on Monday, I was on Fox 40 for the award of top 25 global impact publication.
congratulations.
I know. And
That's amazing.
I'm like, is that me? Or you're talking about another Joseph Nantomah, right? I just told you that I never went to college. Never went to college, but how come you're addressing me as Dr. Joseph Nantomah? Is because when I started becoming successful, along the path, and this is another thing, you have to find your way into the midst of successful people, either by association or you pay your way into it. And I'm going to address that as I keep going forward. I'm going to explain it. But one of the things that I feel consider a blessing is coming to America and meeting the two number one citizen at the time that I came and the number two citizen, talking about Donald Trump and the vice president at the time. So when I started doing a lot in Wisconsin, the governor of Wisconsin, the former governor of Wisconsin, Scott Walker, found me, invited me for dinner. I went there. He was amazed at the things. I mean, like 6-7 years ago, I was already telling the man, I'm going to own half of America. He's like, this guy, you are so So, but when you meet great minds and you start talking the way I talk, with confidence, with self-assurance, it intrigues them, especially an immigrant like me. They're like, dude, you want to buy half of America? I'm like, yes. And I wasn't just saying it. Right now, I own 115,000 acres of land in America.
Love it.
You know what I'm saying? And I say that with all humility, no pride or whatever, but I'm telling you, it's not just talking, because people talk and people do. So when you start going through that path and you start being successful with the next thing, Governor Walker was the one who took me to see the vice president. I always have that picture right here, So it took me there. I met the guy and the man were talking, and this is where I was going. And he told me, this is the real secret of the American dream. Because believe it or not, everybody loves that American dream, but not everybody can live it, because the bridge between the bridge between your dreams and your reality is discipline. And not everybody is disciplined to go through that part. Not everybody is consistent. Not everybody is frequent. I've been watching you doing this program. I knew you when you started, and you just keep doing.
Well, thank you.
And that is what success is all about. It's not just, oh, I came up with an idea. It's the ability to continuously grow and build that idea to where you're going to be so big that maybe, who knows, a network or a TV station or something will buy over your podcast. You never know where these things are going. All you got to do is just start. I am telling you. And when I think very big, so don't mind me.
But it's great that you think big, because the other day I was watching a show with my kids, and it's called Alone. And it's like the show Survivor, where people are literally dropped out in the middle of the wilderness completely alone. Mm-hmm. And in the first season, there was 10 people that started out. And within 4 days, 5 people had quit. Mm-hmm. They tapped out. Then in the second season, it was weeks before someone tapped out, because they'd already seen that people could do it. And exactly. I feel like it's so much that until people can see it, and they usually use somebody else as an example to see it, instead of using their own mind to see the possibilities.
Exactly.
And I feel like you're so great at seeing the possibilities for yourself and going.
And that is one thing that I think sets me apart from a lot of entrepreneurs. I tell people, and they think I'm joking. I'm like, you know what? All these guys that I met, I even told JT, including JT, who is my very good friend, I said, JT, what, I'm going to beat you. It's on record. I tell him, he's like, hey, Joseph, whatever. But the truth of the matter is, that is a gift that every real entrepreneur needs to have. You see, the average person, and I say this with all form of no disrespect, employees cannot see. Mm. And when you tell them, they're like, oh, I have 2 eyes. I guess, no. Entrepreneurs see with their minds. Yeah. One of my business, right now I have 16 businesses, right? One of my business, I just saw, right? I was in, that business has made over $1 million. The other day I went and I was showing JT that, hey, dude, we made about $1.6 million in 1 month. And I was showing him the statement. So what am I saying? I was walking on the beach of Tampa. It was my birthday 3 years ago, walking on the beach, just strolling. And all of a sudden, this idea just came to me. It was like, it's not about making money. It's about building wealth. Mm. Because it comes to a point, we keep chasing after this money. It's not about money. It's about building wealth. And how do you build wealth? When you're trying to make money, you can make money on your own. You can get a job. You can get a small business. I don't like the word small business. You can get a growing business, whatever. But you want to build wealth, you need people. Every empire that's ever been built was not built alone. You have to bring in people from different culture, different race. And that's what JT is doing. That's why he's wealthy, right? He goes about the whole world. You just said he's having an event in London, and he's bringing people from different walks of life together to build wealth. So when I caught it, I went and I set up a Wealth Flow. At the time I set up a Wealth Flow, I didn't know what I was going to do with Wealth Flow. I just know the name came to me. But you know what? The moment you start acting on information, you start being that information.
Yeah, you're building your own belief in it.
Yeah, you have to act first. Some people want everything to align before they start acting. No, that is why I said most employees cannot see. The guy who brought the idea you're working for saw with his mind. And when you see with your mind, oh my God, you will see diverse universes. You would see the whole of heaven. It reminds me of a very funny joke we have in Africa. So you guys call it high school here. So this little kid in Africa is different. Like we have seniors, we have juniors. So this little kid goes to school and he's late. So he meets his senior at the gate, and the senior is like, why are you late to school? You have to be punished for coming late to school. I know you can't do that here in America. So
many years ago you could.
Okay, fine. Then I wasn't here then. So the senior is like, go on your knees. He goes on his knees. It's like, raise up your hands. He raises up his hands, like, close your eyes. He closes his eyes. And the little kid was laughing. And the senior asked the little kid, why are you laughing? And it's like, senior, even though physically you told me to kneel down, raise my hands and close my eyes, in my mind, I am standing. Mm. In my mind, my hands are down. In my mind, my eyes are open. What does that tell you? It tells you people can only control your body and the physical thing they can see. They can't control where your mind is. Right now, while we're here, my mind can go to China or Russia or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Why are you still talking to me? So the same way your mind can go anywhere you want. You can sit down and build a multi-million-dollar business from beginning to scratch with your mind. Long before I touched $1 million, I had to see it in my mind. Long before I bought a yacht, I had to see it in my mind. Long before I started getting the luxury things of life, I had to see it in my mind. I was walking in New York. It was very cold. 2016, I came to America. I was lost. I've never seen so many tall buildings in one place. Right? And I'm just walking, looking. I was lost. People were hitting my shoulder. Excuse me. It's like, you know how New York is.
Yeah, exactly. The hustle bustle.
And I had to come like, how am I gonna get into this place? Right. So back to when I met the president, and he told me this, vice president, he said, #1 American dream. Make sure when you come in, your mind is made up to work hard. The America we live in now, people don't want to work. They want handouts. They want people to give them things. That's why you're not going anywhere. #2, when you make up your mind, put in the work, right? You put in the work, but all of that is not where the secret is. The secret is when you give back. The moment I started giving back was when my success started actually happening. No,
you are so good at that. I have to tell the story of when we were in Dallas at dinner. Okay, so to set the stage, we're at this restaurant called the Melting Pot, and it's one of those fondue restaurants where you cook it all in the front at the table, and there's 8 of us around the table. We're having a lovely time. We have a lovely waitress that's helping us, and you asked her at the end, you said, pick a number between 1 and 1,000, and she goes 1,000, and you gave her $1,000 tip that night.
Well,
and she didn't believe it. You changed her life. I mean, I feel
amazing. Let me tell you what happened a year later, because this was like late last year, right? Like 6 months, 7 months. So when I was coming back from Dallas, like 3-4 months ago, there was a lady who came from Canada. She was the one that actually booked the location that night. So she met me at the airport. She's like, Joseph, when we left that night, even the restaurant did not believe that somebody tipped $1,000. So they called the number on the reservation. We're all gone, and you don't know this part. Yeah. So they called the number on the reservation. They're like, somebody on your table actually tipped $1,000. And she's like, yeah, if it was Joseph, is it Joseph on the card? They're like, yeah. He's like, yeah, he tipped $1,000. And I laughed over it. So that is how I pay forward, because the only reason why the two reasons why you are blessed, people mistake these things all the time. It's not to have those big houses and drive a Bentley and live large. No, 2 things. The reason why you are blessed, the reason why you become successful is #1, so you can inspire others. #2, so you can bless others. Anytime I feel like, oh, I want to be blessed, I just look for somebody to bless. And, when I started doing that, it was like a joke, but now I do it all the time. Not only am I just giving them money, I'm also teaching them how to think big. So let me tell you another way. A month ago, I took my wife and my kids to a very luxurious restaurant here in downtown Milwaukee, and we ate and everything. And this guy brings his the bill, and I ask him, what is your favorite number? So when they tell me, I either add 2 zeros. So if you tell me it's 9, I add 2 zeros. You tell me recently a guy even told me his favorite number was 10. So I gave him 1,000. And this guy was like, he doesn't have a number. So I said, okay, what would you like me to give you for a tip? He's like, no, I'm fine. The restaurant takes care of me. And my 6-year-old daughter looked at this guy. I posted it on my social media. She looks at this guy. She's like, oh my God, you should have told my daddy $1,000. He's very rich. That was what my 6-year-old was telling the guy. But, to the guy, and I'm not saying he's a bad person. Don't get me wrong. This is not about being bad or being good. This is about doing it this way or doing it the other way. To this guy, he's being humble. He doesn't want anything, to bother him or whatever. But the truth of the matter is there was nothing stopping him. I could give him $5,000 on that table. So that is what I said. When opportunities come to you, you have to be able to read opportunities, see opportunities, and be open-minded. So when I started giving, it wasn't when I started making the money that you are blessed. The real joy comes, the real happiness, the real blessing, the real satisfaction, fulfillment, whatever you want to call it, comes when you start giving. Oh, that is a feeling that a lot of successful people don't understand.
Mm. And I have so many thoughts running through my head. And I think, and maybe it's different in Africa. I don't think so. I think it's kind of something that everyone in all different cultures, but there's something so negative about money.
I mean, I think it's everywhere. It's not only Africa. People are beginning to, get used to it. There are certain quarters where you can't talk about money. If you talk about money, it's a taboo. Why will you talk about money? It's like, I'm sorry, just everybody loves sex, but nobody wants to talk about sex, right?
Exactly.
So people sit down and feel, oh, you talk about money, he likes money. And I'm like, don't you like money? Like, money solves 99% of a broke person's problem. Trust me. You see people getting divorced, is money. You see kids wanting to go to school, there is no money to go to school. Or, money solves almost all our problem, and people don't want to talk about it. And you know why? It is because of what we call the financial blueprint. So let me explain a little bit. There's something that the wealthy design called the financial blueprint, and it simply means knowing. It's a test everybody should take. It's actually knowing, where do your literacy about money come from? And I want to do it with you. Is that okay?
Sure. I'll be a guinea pig.
Who was the first person who taught you about money?
It was probably my parents.
Not probably. It's your
Definitely.
parents.
Yeah.
Now you go back another generation. Who were the people that taught your parents about money?
Their parents.
Okay, I want to go up to 3 generations now. Who were people that taught your grandparents about money?
I assume their parents.
Their great-grandparents. Now, the question is, was your great-grandparents millionaires?
One was on one side. They worked on Wall Street. They were very well off.
Oh, there you go.
And then on the other side, they were very poor immigrants from Ireland.
There you go. So that's why probably you're doing well.
You
understand? So when you look at it, if both sides were like broke-minded people, because there's really nobody like that is broke. It's just your mind that is broke. You understand? If there were broke-minded people.
And it's interesting, the word broke.
Yeah. So the word broke,
which means it can be fixed.
Yeah, it can be fixed. So except, there's no poor person, only broke-minded people. But the way we use words, it causes a lot of problems for us, because when you say a certain word to me, the way my brain processes the word might be different from the other person. So I don't tell people you're poor. There's nobody that is poor. If you have a roof over your head, you have clothes covering your body, you can eat a meal or two a day, you're not poor. You're just broke. It's just your mind, because like I said, everything starts with your mind. But I want to do that training. So the challenge is when you have 2 broke-minded people in your 4th generation passing down the financial blueprint, what they will be telling you is save money. So in my own case, for example, my dad, if he speaks to me for 5 days in a week, and we spoke 30 minutes a day, which is about 3 hours a week, 2 hours of that discussion is going to be talking about how I'm going to be saving money. And and he was not doing it because he was doing it out of ignorance, right? He'll be like, have you heard, save money for rainy days?
Sure.
Every day is not the same. Some days are good, some days are bad. These are all financial blueprints, mental broke financial blueprint that was passed down from our ancestors to the next generation, to the next generation. So you have to find a way to break that wrong financial blueprint. And what do I mean? For example, when you go to the bank, if you have to understand firstly that the banks have 2 types of customers. They have the consumers, and there's a whole different language to discuss with the consumers. And they have the investors' customers. So if you are on the normal threshold, those people who just go there to consume, they take your money, they use your money. When you go, they tell you save. You save this money, you probably get 1 point something APR a year.
Right.
But if I was to go into my bank, or if I was to go into any company, they're not talking to me about savings anymore. You know what they're talking about? Investing. How do we partner with you on your next deal so we can both make money? Last year, I got this unlimited card from Amex, right? And I was shocked. I literally called them 3 times. I wanted to be sure, like, are you sure it's unlimited? Like, what do you mean by unlimited? They're like, oh, we have 2 unlimited. One of the unlimited is but yours is like unlimited. I'm like, okay. So are you saying if I swipe $500,000, it's going to go? Sir, it's unlimited. So for somebody like me who came from the background that I came, when I'm hearing that, it's still not real. Like, are you saying I have unlimited money? You know what I mean? And it's not my fault. It's because I came from a poor background, right? And don't get me wrong, I'm not sitting down here on this podcast to make it feel like I have arrived. I haven't arrived. There's still some certain things that are still like, I wake up and I'm like, I hope I'm not dreaming. I hope I'm not in the matrix. I'm not going to wake up one day and I'm like, oh my God, I was in this dream and I was in America with beautiful friends, rich. I flew private jets and this and that. It was a dream. I always feel like that sometimes.
Well, you've told me that when you wake up, you say, I love America.
Yeah.
And America loves me.
America loves me. But, I still have those things that to make me cold. Like when I see my children, they're upstairs right now. When I hear them playing in their room with their American accent, like, did I give birth to these children or it's just a dream? When I see how they act intelligently, they do things, you know what I mean? Like just 4th of July, fireworks. I was in my yacht with millionaires and billionaires in my private marina. And I'm asking myself, Joseph, what are you doing here? Like, are you supposed to be here? It's not like I'm doubting myself, but, these are the things that just make me like, I feel blessed and overwhelmed. So you have to get to that point where you start giving back, because a lot of people hoard, and the more you keep hoarding, they're like, oh, I'm afraid to be broke. I don't want to be broke, so I want to keep everything to myself. You're missing out on the real definition of success.
Yeah.
You're
oh
missing.
my gosh.
So it was when I started doing that I actually became successful. It was when I started doing that the accolades started coming. Before that, nobody knew me. You can do all the training, put all the money, but the day I said, take. Oh my God. Now your information is spread abroad. Now you're touching the universe in a different way. And believe it or not, again, I believe in God. And the Bible that I read says the moment you start giving to those who are really in need, you are giving back to God. I mean, some people might not believe it, but what you believe works for you. And that is what makes me go back to bed and I sleep like a baby. This year, I sponsored, so handedly, I sponsored on my own the biggest women conference in the whole of Africa.
Wow.
The biggest conference. And we did it ×2. The lady used to have a bank or banks who do it together. I was like, okay, if your budget was 1, I'm making it 2. And we gave it to them. And when I finished, oh, you need to see the flood of messages. And there's just something about when a woman prays for you. It's different from when a man prays for you. Believe it or not, because women are mothers, they are mom, they carry some extra energy, believe it or not. So when women start sending their prayers to you, start showing their gratitude to you, it almost feels like a jet in the fuel. And before you see what's happening, lots and lots of opportunities. And it's been an amazing trip, but you just have to be willing. You have to make up your mind. You have to take a chance. You have to take a risk and do what you have to do.
All right, folks, that is actually only part one of the interview with Joseph Nantomah, the Black mentor. We ended up talking for a whole hour. And as you know, I like to keep these podcasts to about 30 minutes. So I was able to break this into two, and you get a wonderful second part that will be coming right after this one. So look forward to that. Please like and subscribe to this podcast and share it with your audience for more great content like this. Until next time, which in this case is only a few days away. Thanks everyone for being here. See you soon.